Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 17, and welcome back to the Western Shore. We are selling silage. We've opened this pit up, and we are getting loaded up, selling it. To do that, we leased a Larrington trailer by CD Models, which I believe has become 4D modding. Pretty sure about that. Not 100% positive, as always, but pretty sure. Let's walk around here, and I'll show you what else is going on with the farm. So we got done with field 4.8, 4.9. You can turn the map back on here. So we'll do this, and it is field 4.9 across the highway. We did get done bringing our wheat in, and we've got plenty of straw in that field. The 1660, I took a look in the more realistic database, and I did not see actually a file, an XML for more realistic on that particular combine harvester. However, it is essentially base game. It is this one right here. So I think what you could do is open up the more realistic mod itself, find the information for this base game combine harvester, because you can see underneath it, it says MR. So the more realistic mod converts all base game self-propelled vehicles to more realistic. So you go in there, just copy that XML. I think, I'm not 100% sure on this. If you try it and it doesn't work, don't yell at old ill will. I'm brainstorming. But I'm pretty sure you can get all the information from the base game 1660 and copy it over to the old 1660, which is, it's just a base game 1660 with a different finish on it. And then the Ludmilla sound pack requires about 5 or 6 lines to be added into the sound section of the XML. So you could copy the more realistic stuff from base game, copy the Ludmilla stuff from the Ludmilla XML, and have yourself an old 1660 with the good sound and more realistic. We'll do that if we ever use it again, but I don't know if we ever will use it again. So that is what's going on there. We're loading up back here. Our man Denzel has, as always, disappeared somewhere and left us with, that guy. He's left us with one more to dump in here, and we will. And then we'll make our way down to the BGA. Yep, I did this off camera. I was going to do it on camera. There's a couple reasons not to. One reason is it takes a minute. I am not the quickest with the telehandler or the front loader or the wheel loader. And also the cows, like I said, a little bit of an immersion breaker. But I had a thought. And if you are an ambitious modder, tell me what you think of this. In the same way that you could turn traffic off, what if you could turn livestock off? Not completely and not permanently. So it would still exist on your farm. So cows, as an example. You could turn the cows off visually, but they would still exist. They would still make milk and poop and baby cows. But they wouldn't, you know what I mean? They wouldn't ruin your immersion by moving through vehicles and jumping up on top of tractors and that sort of thing. And possibly even break it into zones where you had your fields as one zone and your farm as another zone. So you could leave the cows on in the field or potentially even never turn them off there, because why would you really even need to? But you could turn them off in the yard when you were working, that sort of thing. I don't know, just a thought. Just a thought. That is, I'm going to call that full. I think it's probably about 97, 98%. But I'm going to say, for our, God, there it is. That's what I'm on about. For our purposes, I think that's full enough. So, and that, yeah, see that little bit of, it's not, our FPS is still good, but it's just looking a little bit choppy, and I'm not quite sure why. Not a deal breaker, not the end of the world, but I'm always curious what we can do to make the game look and play better. Right, so we'll leave that for Denzel, and we will go ahead, right through there. Take your time. We will hop in the JCB and get this down to the BGA. Yeah, we'll just hop over. No problem. Now, let me see. I got it in here. Surely I can get it out. Right, I say that. Let's get rid of this first, so we can have a nice view. This cow, I mean, I'll give it a minute. And then we'll just have to suspend our disbelief. Ma'am? Miss? No. Here we go. So I think if we were to come right over about here, more or less, here we go. Oh my God. One swing? No. I never get anything in one swing. Have you seen my truck videos? What? What manner of madness is this? I don't know, but I'll take it. I will take it. So we go right through there. Don't hit anything. We're going to need to stop right about there. Set the brake. Moonwalk, as you do. We'll get this open. Like so. Let's get out of here. Now, I did have a couple little piles of chaff when we hopped into our pit. There were a couple little piles of chaff that hadn't been caught under the blanket. They just missed the trigger a little bit. I thought everything was in, but they were sort of on top of the tarp, on top of the blanket. So I did scoop those up. It was about 100 liters, and I took it over to the other pit. Now, I've got questions. I got questions as we're rolling down to the BGA. We'll talk about our next move. We're definitely going to mow next. And I think the smart thing to do is use a loading wagon to get the bulk of what we first mow into a pit. I had thought about the BGA, but then I started wondering, if we're taking grass, if we're taking chaff to the BGA, it's a long trip. And we only have, well, I guess we could, no, we couldn't really even do that. I was thinking we could pull a loading wagon with the, no, we couldn't do that either. Well, we'll be able to lease one loading wagon, which means it would be making a long trip down to the BGA and back. Or we could make a much shorter trip to the pits on the farm. Now, if we were going to the BGA, I would most likely do that with course play, which means I would mow one field and rake it up, and then have, I would, see if I can say this right, I would put the rake on course play. I would copy the course play course from the rake over to the tractor that was on the loading wagon so that it would follow along in the same path and gather up that grass. And then I would add in a course to go down to the BGA and really just stop there. I've seen people set it up where course play backs into the pit and empties. That is some voodoo. That is strange magic, and I have not, you know what I'm saying? Course play level, intermediate. I don't have that skill set. So what I would do is tell it to go to the BGA and just stop, essentially. And then I would tab into the vehicle, unload it, put it back on course play, and send it back to the farm. The other thing we could do, much simpler, is just unload to the pits at the farm. And then when the time comes, we can use that silage either for food for our cows, or we can load up, as we have in this trailer right here, we can load up and take it down to the BGA and dump it directly. Let's see if we get up this hill. More or less. Let's lock in some hubs and four-wheel drive here. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Now, we do have a third layer of fertilizer on our grass. First cut, we only had 2, so we'll have about 30% more grass. Or, well, not exactly. Oh, OCD. We'll have about 30% more than base. We'll be at 190% versus 160%. But the difference between 160 and 190 is not 30%. You know what I'm talking about. If you're a mathlete, you know what I'm talking about. So we'll have a bonus to our grass. We'll have a little bit more grass. Now, I know the pit that we're emptying right now is 250 liters. The other pit on the farm looks bigger, but, you know, with Farm Sim, triggers can be any size, collision boxes can be any size, volumes can be anything. So that other pit, I'm told, is also 250, even though it visually looks bigger. So let's say 500,000 liters. I think we got more than that from first cut without the added volume. So I think we'll have plenty to fill both those pits, and then what's left we'll bale into both hay bales and silage bales. Although, at the moment, we do have enough grass. not grass, hay. We do have enough hay and silage for our cows well on to next year. So no worries there. We could make all of second cut into silage and sell it, but I don't mind saving a little for food, just in case. You know, you can't anticipate everything, so let's have a nice cushion there. So that is what we'll do next. I'll mow off camera, and then we'll try to do something. I would love to do more courseplay stuff, because it's just fun to watch your farm sort of come alive, and you know, your workers doing your bidding like obedient little minions. You know what I'm talking about. Doesn't always work out that way with courseplay, but sometimes it does. Right through there. So yeah, and I think we should get about 10 grand per trailer, and we have 6. This is 25,000 in the trailer, give or take. I mean, it's just to keep the math simple. And we had 150 in the pit, so that is a total of 6 trips at 10,000. So we'll make 60,000 from silage. And if we go to 250 in that pit, that's half again as much, which would be about 100. And then the other pit, also at 250. So we can make a couple 100,000 from silage on second cut. And that would definitely, I mean, that opens up a lot of possibilities. It opens up the possibility of buying fields. And that's, you know, somebody did leave a comment and said, oh, open the pig farm, start pigs. We've got corn down at Blockwell, and we've got wheat down there, because wheat was only selling for about $2.30 a ton. I just banked it all. I didn't sell any of it. I put 5,000 liters in the trough for our cows, and the rest of it went into the silo at Blockwell. So we have wheat for our pigs, we have corn for our pigs, but pigs eat so many different kinds of food that it's financially almost impossible to grow all the foods that they eat. Now, we do have a mod where I can buy pig food, but the thing about it is it is inclusive pig food. It is all the pig food. So there's no need for corn or wheat. Save game. There's no need for corn or wheat, because, right, why would there be? Why? If anything, we would just want to buy potatoes or possibly sunflower seeds or something, and then grow the rest, right? Grow the things that we can, buy the things that we can't. The mod doesn't work that way. You just get everything. Which means we wouldn't have to grow anything for the pigs. We could grow cash crops and buy food for them, in the same way that there have been farms where I have only made silage and sold it for money, and then just bought food for the cows, right? Don't worry about making hay or making silage bales or anything else. Just sell crops for cash and use it to buy food for your animals. And if you get the balance just right, you can sell milk and baby cows and use that to buy food for the cows. It's a self-sustaining operation. Okay, so we're going to set the brake. We're going to empty this out. Here we go. I really appreciate the pit being ground level, so you can empty into it without using a telehandler or wheel loader. I think that's a nice touch. Might not be 100% realistic, but I do appreciate it. And as we've talked about, the game is not 100% realistic. We just need it to be close enough. Close enough. 9,700 pounds. So, yep, we'll get about 60 for what's in that pit, and then we'll hopefully fill both of those. So yeah, if we had 500,000 on the farm, 500,000 liters of silage on the farm, that's actually a little bit more, isn't it? Hang on now, do some math. At 300, that's a little bit less, sorry. At 300 per 1,000 liters, if we have 500,000 liters, is about 150 grand. Regardless, I'll take it. A little bit less than my first calculation, but I'll take it. I'll take it. And by the way, we're going in kind of a counterclockwise circle here. I want to be more mindful of the traffic on Bramble Lane. I've been sort of pushing my luck by pulling out and heading east. Traffic only moves east to west, so I haven't been caught out yet. I have not come head up against a car. And there is one place to pull over between the Bramble Lane farm and Blockwell, but I'd rather not use it. So I want to get in the habit of just making this loop. And if we go with courseplay, we'll have to use this loop. Either that or turn traffic off, but I'd rather not turn traffic off. I like seeing things moving around the map. So yeah, I think that is the plan in the broad strokes. We should make, maybe not a lot of money this year, but we'll make enough and then we'll have to decide whether we want to go pigs. The other option is to go down to Blockwell Farm, and in a way that makes even less sense, because all we would do is start another dairy operation down there. It makes no sense. There's no reason to do that. We would just be splitting our efforts between two farms when we could buy more cows for Bramble Lane and just save ourselves the trip down to the other farm. There's some fields that we can buy. There's a grass field that I've had my eye on, and there's also an arable field. I think of the two, maybe get the arable field so we can start to pump up our arable operation. Air it up. No, don't laugh at that. That was inappropriate. That was wrong. No bad puns. If we try to extend our arable operation, I think it would make sense to go with a big field and get some canola or soybeans or something in there. So that would be the way to go rather than more grass. Although, more grass, I mean, in a way we keep it simple because we need the equipment anyway for all the grass that we already do have. So, right, at that point, then we plant field 49 as grass. We buy other grass fields, and we only have to, we only have to lease or buy one type of equipment, right, just mowers and rakes and that sort of thing. But that's what happened on Gazelsberg, and we ended up just doing grass work. So let's try to avoid that. This grass field right here to our right is the one that I'm looking at. Whoa, widen out that mud. This grass field to our right is one that I'm looking at, and then the arable field is this one to our left. And those are both really sort of close and convenient to our farm. In fact, we'll get up here just a little bit, and you'll see the gate for one of the farms that we already own. I mean, it's already in sight. That's it there, up ahead of us on the right. So this field on the right that I'm thinking about buying actually butts up against the field that we already own. It's that close to our farm. So plenty of options, plenty of possibilities. Oh, hey, check this out too. You can actually see it really well right here. The compost texture stays in that field. And I suspect because it's a grass field, it may stay in there until we mow it, at which point it will be, the fertilizer will be consumed, right, as far as the code is concerned, and it will drop back down to base layer of fertilizer. So I think that's when the compost will disappear. But I kind of like that. I think in real life, if you were to spread some rich black topsoil on a field, you would probably be able to see that topsoil for a minute. It wouldn't immediately assimilate. You know what I mean? So, nice little touch. Whether it's intentional or not, I'll take it. So, that's it. That's the end of the episode. I'll get pulled in here. We'll get parked up, and I will empty out the rest of this pit off camera. Next episode, we will be... I'll mow off camera. I know mowing isn't the most interesting thing to watch. Maybe we'll finish up the raking and sort out what we want to do with a loading wagon and where we're going to take our grass to. The biggest concern I have is the second pit, not the one that we used here to just to the far side of the dairy, but the one on the other side of the dairy, the right of the dairy. That's the one I'm concerned about, my ability to get in there without smashing everything. But either way, there you have it, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 17. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.